are tuned in to Journey to I Do with Magic. That's me. To give a brief background of where this whole Journey to I Do idea came from. It just came to me one day that one day I want to be someone who is great in my career, great in a happy home in terms of married to the right man and having excellent creative kids, and also being an impactful person in the community in the future. But I'm not there yet, and I am surrounded by so many young people like myself who are ambitious, who are driven, who want to achieve great things, but they're not there yet as well. We're people who we call role models, who we look up to, who when they've made it come out and tell us their stories, or they write books, or give us some form of background of how they actually got there. Now, wouldn't it be great to have someone who is still doing the journey, who is still walking through and trying to get to that place? Well, now you have me, Magic. You and I can now go through a journey to I Do. Journey to I Do career, journey to I Do relationships, journey to I Do growth, journey to I Do relationship with God, journey to I Do anything and everything. Some people are sport crazy peeps and are always at the gym. Well, I'm not that person. I'm sure you have people who can follow for that. So it's all about that journey, the before and after. This is me going through it, the emotions, this is what I encountered, this is how I'm feeling, this is how sometimes I get demotivated and what motivates me. I'm not there yet. I'm still walking my single journey before I get to my husband and my children. But then what about now? What do we do now to ensure that when we get there, we are nothing short of excellence? Funny thing is that people keep asking me, why Magic? Where does this magic thing come from? And I think it's only fair that as you start this journey with me, you understand where the concept comes from, because you need to relate with me and I need to be relevant to you. So Magic came to me at a time where I was going through a very difficult time. I had just gone through a very hard breakup, which was anticipated. And at the time, the whole black magic thing was a trend, and everyone was just on some hashtag black magic. When people graduated, hashtag black magic, whatever. And to me, I wanted to take away the fact that I'm great because I'm black, or the fact that I'm great because I'm a female. I'm great because I work daily to ensure that I achieve greatness. And that's where Magic came from, where I came to a place where I started loving myself. Everything about me that people used to point out and make as if it's a bad thing, the fact that I'm short, or the fact that I have a certain stature or whatever, and I just got to a point where I was like, you know what, but all these things make me great. They're the things that make me walk into a room and actually people notice me. Yes, they might not be noticing me in the way that you would want them to notice me in, but it's what makes me great. So that is where Magic was born, and that's the spirit of Magic that I want to impart to you. So obviously, like every journey, there's a beginning. So how we're going to begin with this is me giving you a brief background or some information about who I am. My name is Khuthazo Mbetsi. I am a girl who was born and bred in Limpopo, in a village called Hamadamarara, which when translated to English, I'm not even going to attempt to say what it means, but it's a very small village there. And I was raised mainly by my grandparents because my mom had to go back to school and stuff. And I was raised by a single mother. My dad is still alive, yes. And I have a sibling, a younger brother. So going back to how I was raised in a very commanding way, in a sense that because I stayed with my grandparents, every time you had visitors, you were forced to literally come and greet. And greeting, not just hi, you have to go on your knees all the time. Which is a good thing because, and a bad thing now that I'm now grown and in corporate. The good thing is that I feel like I'm still a very humble and respectful person. And I get that from the fact that I was raised the way that I was raised. Very humble beginnings indeed. And on the downside is that I have gotten so accustomed to kneeling down to a fact that even when I'm giving a simple handshake to people in the office, somewhat I can't stop me from doing that branding thing. That's a bit awkward at times, but most people don't notice. So I'm just a Venda rural girl who was very determined to ensure that her life became something completely different to her surroundings. And I want to thank God that my family pushed me and always supported me, even in times when I wanted to do my own thing. I mean, the field that I went into, no one saw that coming in my family. As a matter of fact, they had a meeting to ensure that maybe I change my ways and go into a different field altogether. But the aim of this, I'm trying to put away or move away from making it just a one thing. So when I say corporate, I will be speaking corporate across the board, because as much as I'm only in one field, I have friends across different fields and I still need to relate to you. So it's not about that. Yes, I might come from a background where it was humble beginnings, but that's not to say it was like that throughout. Things changed and things can still change. And you might come from a different background, but you will still be able to relate, because it's all about being real. I'm all about being real at all times, whether it be to my friends, whether it be to my parents, whether it be to church members. It's all about being real and being you, because when you become who you are and you're real and open about your thoughts and your feelings, you give others the opportunity to do the same thing. Because we live in a society that has so much expectations of people, or people in a certain background, or people from a certain upraising or whatever. But at the core of it all, we need to also face the reality that our stories are not the same, and how I feel today is not how I will feel tomorrow. Accomplishing something does not necessarily mean I don't have challenges. Being seen as a leader does not mean that I don't have moments of weakness or times where I actually cannot be what is expected of me. So there's so many things. Life is a moving wheel, and one minute you're up, the minute you're down, the other you're sideways. But it's all about being real to who you are and allowing others to be real, because I feel like part of the reason why our society or our youth is dying on a regular is because we are not truthful, first of all to ourselves and to those in our lives. We want to put on a facade. We want to act as if we are holier than thou. We want to act as if we have everything figured out. And that the truth of it all is we're all just trying to figure this life thing out. That's why you'll find someone who says, I'm a believer. Others say, I don't believe. Whatever source or whatever story that led them to get to that conclusion is all trying to figure it out. And people choose the one that they feel they can relate to more, or they just choose the one that is easy. So it's all about being real, and that will lead to the choices that you make. So as we embark on this journey to I Do, I will be giving you a glimpse to some of the moments that I've gone through that have led me to making some decisions that I've made. And maybe you can relate to them, and maybe you can't. And maybe you can learn what not to do or what to do. Because I find at the core of it all, if we're real, nothing beats that. And if you're you, no one can compete with that, because there's only you. And no one can imitate you. Even if they try, they will not succeed, because God specially made you the way that you are, and that is unchangeable. I've said a bit about my upbringing. I think it's now time to move to current situation. Current right now, what's happening, what's popping. I am 27 years old, 3 years to dating. I am single and happy. Yes, I am. And I am a qualified chartered accountant. This is my first year, post qualification. No, this is my second year. Gosh, I forget that I'm in 2019 now. It's a new year. I love people. Most of my time is spent, if I'm not at work, I'm with family or friends. And God somehow always puts me in positions where I'm always meeting new people. And one thing that I can tell you is that somehow I feel my name is destined to fulfill it. Khuthazo, when translated, means comfort. And that is what I aim to do. I aim to be a friend. I aim to be a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, or someone who just lets you be you. And the good thing is, I'm also that person to myself, which is what is important. I allow myself to be me. I allow myself to feel what I want to feel or how I feel. Yes, maybe sometimes I can't allow myself to stay in those feelings, but I allow myself to at least feel and understand why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And if anything, whenever people encounter me, the one thing that I want them to leave with is that girl loves, that girl listens, that girl is supportive, irrespective of where you come from, irrespective of your title. I don't respect titles. For me, I respect a person who respects people. How you treat people is what pulls a certain response from me. So there are people whom I can meet who are apparently great people, but if they treat people like crap, I will not see them. And I've had instances where people are like, but do you know who I am? I'm just like, I know whom apparently you are. I don't want to know the rest. Because of the person that you are, people are what's important. I mean, one thing you will realize about me, my reference will always be God. My reference will always be the Word of God and what God is saying, because I cannot give you a reference of anything like I know. Who is Khuthadzo? Khuthadzo is still a young adult trying to figure her life out. I don't have the manual script of how to do things or not do things. All I can refer to, which I know stands and doesn't change, is God. So even in my encounters with people, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, my reference will be God and what God is probably trying to do in the season that you're in, or what God is trying to show you from whatever experiences you're encountering. And that is what I also try to remind myself with my own life, that I might not perceive or understand it all, but what is God saying? Like I've said, I'm single, and one of the things that I'm very passionate about, God knows, is marriage. I spoke about marriage since I was a kid. Like when other kids were playing with dolls or playing with stones, those games that, okay, because I ain't gonna lie, we did not have dolls in my time, okay? In the rural, there were not dolls there. So there's this game that we used to play, we'd either play house or we'd play the stone game where you're pulling stones out and in or whatever. It will sound weird. I even Ndode. Yes, that's the name. When others were playing house and whatever, I always played as the mother, and a very loving but strict mother for some reason. And I would bring it home and I would always be talking about marriage. Remember, my mom is not married, and I was staying with my grandmother and grandfather. My grandfather's soul rest in peace, he has passed. They were married, but both of them would be like, why do you love marriage so much? Like, and they would down talk it. Growing up, being where I am now, I am so very passionate about marriage. Like, I love couples, I love people who are getting married, and for some reason, I've been a bridesmaid 7 times. It would have been 8, but I couldn't make the 8th one. But I'm always involved in marriages and being in the background, either praying for the couples or being a bridesmaid or talking to married people and understanding what marriage is all about and what their experiences are. And for me, I feel like that is part of the journeys that I'm walking to, because I know for a fact that I've been called to the ministry of marriage. I don't know in what light or in what form, but that's something that will unfold as we get there. But before I get there, there's a process that I'm going through right now because I'm single. So I'm being prepared for it. But we'll get through to that when we get to the marriage topics. I'm just giving you more about me. So if you were ever to talk to me or you were on my WhatsApp stories, most times it's about relationships. It's about God. It's about people. It's about work. And that is the journey that we will be unfolding on a regular on this page. And you can give me ideas of the kind of things or questions or topics that you would like me to talk about, or questions specifically that you have for someone at our age, or just any question. I might not have the answers, but like I said, I have a referral manual, which is the Bible, and I have God, and I am a woman who prays. So I might not have the answers immediately, but I will get to them and I'll be able to address them. For me, this journey is more about a journey of self-discovery and a journey to allow God be God and me be just a vessel. And what better way to become great and also inspire others and take others with? Because I believe that God is trying to raise a people, young people, who will be great in whatever careers they're in. It doesn't have to be being a pastor, because that is what I used to think, that serving God means being a pastor. But you can be an accountant, you can be a trader, you can be an investment banker, you can be an engineer, you can be a pilot, but be a pilot that is under the orchestration of being led by God and who is impacting people. Think of all the places that you've been to. Someone is doing their job, right? You go to the police station, someone is doing their job. What if you're encountering a policeman who is led by God, who will not only be caring about you filling those documents, but will also care about what you're going through? What if you walk to the hospital and the person who is taking care of you is also encouraging you and praying for you? What if you are an accountant and you are being asked, people are asking you for documents and whatever, but they also take a moment to ask, but how are you doing? Those are the kind of people that God wants in all those different aspects of lives, or wherever you've been positioned, or wherever you want to see yourself. You can be that pillar or that impact or change bringer that will impact people's lives. And that's what God is all about in this season. He is raising people who will be ambassadors, who won't need to say, I love God, but their lives themselves will demonstrate and will impact other people so much that even if you don't know him, you will know, but that there is something different about this girl. There's something different about this guy. There's something different about this lady. There's just something different. We don't know what it is, but there's something. And let us be part of that something, because there is more that God wants to do in our lives. I know that became a sermon, but that was not the point. The point was that my referral manual will always be God and what God is trying to do. And that is how this journey will work, because remember, he started this journey in me and even enabled me to come to a point where I'm like, okay, let me actually do this. So I'm not gonna take him out of this post.